All right, welcome on to the Ryan Ripken Show makeshift edition here as we're not in the studio where we usually do it. But we appreciate you guys tuning in this Wednesday. We still got a jam-packed show for you. We're going to talk about a lot of different things in the baseball world. We're going to go around Major League Baseball, which includes that apparently Shohei Otani is going to be back on the bump. The A's no longer are going to be homeless. I mean, I love them playing in the SAC in Sacramento, but there's some ground-breaking news, I guess, with the A's. Hate myself for that pun. We are going to talk a lot of things with the Orioles. There is some conversations. We'll play a little buy or sell. And also, we might start the show off with that interview we just had with Will Clark and talking about hitting. And you guys know baseball's our backbone here. So Will Clark had a great understanding and demonstration of what it means to kind of swing the bat and have it be flat through the zone. So we'll save that for just a few minutes. And then Zach, he's back. He's back from the – I don't even know how to exactly put it because you know what? Maybe you just needed a wheel to turn your luck around, Zach. But we'll talk what that all means later on the show. And just like with yesterday's show, I got a little quiz for Zach, and we're going to play a 15-year gap and see how Zach can answer those questions correctly. And that's about it. Maybe answer some questions. But Zach, as always, how are we doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. Like you said, back in the win column. We'll get to that in a little bit. But just another great day. Actually, speaking of, we can get to a little talk about bad beats. Had one early today. Already we got a bad beat. Bailey Falter needed 16 and a half outs recorded. Pulled at 5 1/3 innings. Needed one more out at 71 pitches. You hate to see it. Gave up a solo homer, and they gave up on him. It sucks. But you know what? We're gonna get back tonight. We're feeling the vibe still from yesterday. We're going to get back in the win column tonight. Orioles back in the win column tonight, maybe. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. So you bet on that one, so you're 0 for today?
No, actually, unfortunately, I'm 2 for 1. I was thinking I was going to ride a hot. We got daytime baseball, Sometimes you have to just, dabble. And I was thinking I'd be 3-0 coming into the show, and then that was a brutal beat to keep us 2-1. Had to keep us humble today.
See, and that's just like in baseball and life, right? It just takes one to think that you're back. In this case, Zach, maybe he's back, maybe he's not. We'll discuss all that later as we take our trip up to Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. We want to remind people we are streaming live on YouTube, X, and now Facebook. So, Chris, I see you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, love it.
And then we got Joey on X. What's good, Joey? We'll see you up there at the end of the month at Hollywood Casino. And then obviously it's right in order there.
Yeah,
Julian, good day from the Bahamas. So people are tuning in from all over, but YouTube, X, Facebook, hit that like and subscribe button. We do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday live, but we're putting out content each and every day for you all. So you know what, Zach? Hey, it's Wednesday, man. You know what? It's a sad day. We're not cooking with Kyle. It's the only downside. Every Wednesday we cook in studio. But we're going to talk a lot of shop here. So as we get into around our little baseball conversation here, which is brought to you by our friends over at Merit Clubs. If you're looking to get fit this summer, go check out meritclubs.com. We might be doing a performance test for your amusement and our pain. Actually, Zach, you might be the one in pain after it. I digress.
Yeah,
but
very good chance.
Very good chance. But let's start off with this with hitting, because I think everyone can relate to this. Around baseball, the game has changed. There's no doubt about that. But Will Clark, and if you go look at his numbers, his stats, he was one of the best hitters during his tenure in the big leagues, 1986, I believe, to 2000. He ended his career hot, right? And he chose to walk away. So one thing you could say about it, you could say, he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. Will Clark was one of the best hitters when he was in the major leagues during his time. But there's this phrase that gets thrown around a lot, Zach, about, hey, swinging up, trying to stay through the zone long. And for those that don't understand that, I wanted Will to walk it through. I grew up with it. Everyone has different terminology, but sometimes you like to see a demonstration. And Will, he demonstrated live when we did the recording. So let me play that clip for you guys, and we'll talk about this hitting concept on the other side.
Hitters in the world, and I'll probably tell you, hey, they can probably hit it anywhere they want to. That's a whole different conversation. But you got to know yourself, one, but then two, I think one part that keeps getting missed, and you're talking about swinging up or, and not going directly to the baseball. And I see a lot of people that would argue back and go, well, the results when you watch the footage, their bat's ending up swinging up at the end. I want you to talk about this for a second, mindset. Because as a hitter, when I always said I'm going to be direct, the results then led to that. But if I always told myself I want to lift, my swing would get long and my bat would be slow. Can you just explain a little bit more about why we tell ourselves to swing more down?
All right. So if you got your hands up and you're coming down this way, all right, we just talked about being on plane. Look at the barrel of the bat. It stays on plane with the baseball. All right. As soon as you bring this shoulder up, that elbow up, that shoulder drops, you get this and you come up at the ball. All right. Which is exactly what we talked about just a second ago. All right. So one of the big things that we talked about in our era, keeping your shoulders square, keeping the front shoulder down, keeping the front elbow down, take your bottom hand, okay? Whether you're right-handed, whether you're left-handed, doesn't matter. Take your bottom hand and pull, all right? If you pull down towards the ball, all right, look what happens. Shoulders stay level, elbows down, barrel of the bat stays flat coming through. If you're trying to pull like this and you try to lift your shoulder at the same time, you're going to blow out a shoulder. All right. So that was one of the good things about telling yourself, all right, I'm gonna pull my hands to the ball. When you pull your hands to the ball, everything stays square. All right. And you get on playing with that ball quicker. Now, the way that these people are being taught, all right, once you come up, all right, first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna lock out your arm, as you alluded to, and you're gonna have a long swing. So.
And I love that. Do you just keep that little bat by your side every time?
Yeah, no, I got this one, and I got my normal one. But Eric Burns and I, we're always walking through something when we're doing our podcast, so I got a little bit of everything.
So I love that clip for so many different reasons. One, the fact that he's just ready. He's like, you know what? I got that little puppy over there. Here we go.
There was no hesitation. You were like, hey, could you kind of say, and he just turned, he was like, oh yeah, I got you. Like, he was just ready. It was like it was scripted. It was, and then, I mean, it is so funny when you hear the legends of the game talk about it, because everything he explained, he made seem so simple. And when they break it down, it's so simple, okay, you just, shoulder to elbow to wrist, bring your hands through all this. Well, when the ball's got movement, when everything else, I mean, there's a reason Will hit 303 in his career. It just, for how complicated baseball can be, it's so incredible to see how the greats dumb it down. And we talk about that. How many times do we talk about, or with these Hall of Famers, about the analytics today? I mean, Matt Holliday talked about his hitting approach. He said, I didn't want the analytics. I wanted specific things that I knew helped me, get me in that mindset. But after that, he's like, I didn't want all the extra stuff. He's like, I didn't need, that was too much. Some of the all-time greats, it's because they dumb it down. It's the way that they can simplify it, even in their at-bats of, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Hey, this is my approach. I'm just working on this simple swing. Get the head through the zone, keep in the zone the longest, and good things happen.
Good things happen. And the other part is terminology for people is different. You're going to find similarities in the same concept, right? The end of the day is you're supposed to bat to the ball. You want to hit a line drive, right? The end result of what we talk about is the same concept. You can still have the same concept when talking about how you're going to swing, but people process it differently, Zach, right? Mm-hmm. So the notion for players, why you hear the term swing down or trying to be through the zone, flatter through the zone so your bat has a better chance, right? Everyone has a different thought and approach and philosophy of why it works. But the reason why I love with Will is at the end of the day, the goal is how do you keep the bat in the zone long enough, and how are you able to have that quick swing that can be able to generate power, force, and to be able to do damage around the field, right? That's the ultimate goal when you're going up to the dish. And the example that I was always taught, and when I've done the breakdowns, right, Zach, let me see if I can turn a little bit. Hey, now, I'm stuck. But when Will's talking about when this front shoulder goes, and that front shoulder goes first, then the bat ultimately is going to get long because you're having to open your body up. But when you're able to stay closed and he's saying pull that front arm, and that first movement is this way and it's quick, right? How much quicker is it going here to then, I got to move out, right? Even doing that, I'm going, man, that's a good stretch, but it makes things more challenging. But each hitter has a different way that works for them. And so I don't like to put anyone down on their opinions on how they should hit, but I think it's a good understanding that everyone has a different terminology or vocabulary when it comes to hitting, but the end result is you're trying to be quick to the baseball. And if you can do that enough consistently, you're going to have success. And unfortunately, I keep thinking about this. If Matt Holliday just wasn't a 299 hitter, maybe he could give more advice, right?
Yeah. Let's call a spade. Let's say how it is. If he was a 300 hitter, he'd be the Orioles manager right now. It's simply how it would be. If he would have just gotten those 7 more hits, he would definitely be the hitting coach.
Oh gosh, yeah. Rumor has it right now, Matt Holliday is on a plane to Baltimore.
Who?
He wouldn't be there to watch his son play, though.
That's
just outside the question. Okay, he's just not there to be a dad.
Oh, we should just put those tweets out like Matt Holliday in Baltimore at Camden Yards. Come back? Question mark. Orioles.
My source to say Matt Holliday's in the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Orioles fall. Orioles get eliminated from playoff contention. You give Matt Holliday a weak contract to finish out the season as the DH. I'm telling you, he might find himself as a 300 hitter all time.
Hey, but we talked about it's going to take more than just a few at bats to hit 300. I think he's going to have to get, I think he's going to have to be like 4 for 4, 5 for 5.
Yeah, so he would have had currently 7 more hits in his current at bat. So probably like a 4 for 4 type. He'd probably need like a 4. We got to just look at the other pitcher and be like, bro, let's see some fastballs today. Hey,
I wonder if Matt Holliday can hit lefties that throw 90 to 92. I think actually I am curious now. I want to look at the 2 averages before we continue on to move in these conversations. If you're new to that channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We are live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on YouTube, X, and now Facebook. So drop a like, subscribe on YouTube if you can, or follow on the platforms. We appreciate it. And when we get into the fall, we'll talk a lot more football or foosball, as Bobby Boucher would call it, or Bobby Boucher's mother, I should say. Zach, what movie?
Bobby Boucher is Waterboy.
Okay. Whew. Wow, that was.
I was picturing the pads and everything, and I was like, "Why am I playing?"
Too long of an answer, but you still got it. I'll give you credit there. We'll talk a lot more of that, but baseball's our backbone, right? So we're going to continue to talk about the game for a long period of time. Matt Holliday career stats, though, okay, as we're doing some splits. What do you think his average was against left-handed pitching? Oh, hold on. I got to go back. You have a little bit more time. You can think about it.
All right. I think I'm going to have my answer.
You think you have your answer?
I'm going to say 289. No, 297.
293.
Oh, I went literally right in the middle. 289, and I literally went 4 from each.
Yep. 293 versus left-handed pitching, but when it's a left-handed starter, he's hitting 298. What do you think he hit as a right versus right-handed pitching?
302.
Oh, man, we should have that wheel rolling because you're wrong. Barely 301.
Oh,
right there. I'm just saying. He slugged better against right-handed pitching slightly, but he had a higher OPS slightly versus left-handed pitching. So take that for what it's worth, but that's there. And we'll play one more fun game. We'll see if you can redeem yourself, Zach, because we can't do our fitness challenge today technically, but we could do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Will Clark versus left-handed pitching.
298.
Is that your final answer?
That's going to be my final answer.
You said what, 298?
Yeah.
Damn. 289.
Oh, I'm so close. That one, I mean, not as close, but that was.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. That's another movie. I'll give it to you. That's Billy Madison. But those guys, they knew how to hit. They had success, obviously. And you hope for people, it doesn't mean that great hitters are going to be great coaches, by the way. I saw a comment from Mouse Talk there.
Yeah.
But the reality is that they did have a lot of success. And you can take away a lot of those nuggets from people, right? That was the one thing that Will talked about. He would pick the brains of some of the greatest players. And not that he'd always agree with everything that they did, but there was something that made them successful that if he could put into his game, that's what he tried to do. So I think that is one part that I always look towards as a player. And that's one thing I think a lot of people in life, trying to figure out to start a media, group, right, Zach? I talk to people all the time about business. It's not about sports. I mean, heck, Iron Rooster, shout out Kyle. Talk to him all the time about business. Hey, shout out the Tuxedo House here in Maryland. Just was there talking about the generations of how much success that they've had, and they just hooked me up with a great tuxedo shirt. That's a whole different subject. But talking about the business, getting things going. You learn something by asking questions and that people have gone through it. So I thought that was a nice little moment here. And I know you didn't ask for that advice, but if you're tuning into the show, you're looking for something. And so here we are to present that to you. Now we're going to continue to move on, Zach. We have a lot to talk about still. And don't worry, for all the Oriole fans, yeah, we are going to talk about what the Orioles should do at the trade deadline. And I'm seeing the comments. We're going to deep dive there. But we're still a ways away. One thing I think that I'm curious about, since we're talking about business, Zach, the A's are no longer going to be in Sacktown. Apparently, it's official. It's official that
they're no longer homeless.
They're no longer going to be in the sack. They are going to officially be going to Vegas, as it's being reported, Zach, that the former Oakland A's, Sacramento Athletics, they have started building, breaking ground on a stadium in Vegas. That is what's being reported. So that was the plan all along, Zach, right? That's not different, but people were trying to throw out there like, does the city of Vegas really want them?
I'm still not convinced that
You're still not convinced?
I think they're doing it. I'm still not convinced that because haven't they publicly come out and been like, hey, we're not really sure. I mean, they're going there. It's happening, but I was as a baseball fan, there was that part of me deep down that was still like, hey, is there still that one? You're telling me there's a chance that they could return to Oakland, and it never happened. It's sad.
Yeah, it always felt like it was fairy tale. Like, it'll happen. Maybe it won't. So right now they've set a date, and they're breaking the ground. It's on a $1.75 billion Stadium. Am I seeing that correctly?
Yeah.
And it's got to be a dome, right? We've already discussed this.
Has to.
Yeah, we're talking about it being hot. We're talking about being hot with the Tampa Bay Rays playing at George Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, because for people that didn't know, the Tampa Bay Rays do not play in Tampa. They play in St. Petersburg at the Trop Dome. That's hot. But we're talking about Vegas hot. That's got to be a dome. They do have a AAA team already in Vegas for teams that didn't know that, or for people that didn't know that. But that is news that's breaking. The ultimate goal is, for baseball and marketing, that you go to a city like that, and just like some of the other teams that have come in there, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, who've turned into a great NHL franchise there, the Raiders, which just feel terrible for Oakland. All their teams just leave. The Raiders are there. The Aces are there for the WNBA. You wonder, could the NBA then try to put a team out there? But now it looks like a baseball team, and they're completing that. And isn't it fitting, right? All the gambling deals going on, Zach, and all these big sports leagues are going to Vegas.
It was a matter of time. There'll be an NBA team there sooner rather than later as well. I think the next wave of NBA will probably, I would assume, be Vegas, and then Seattle. Better be Seattle. Seattle better be getting a team the next go around. But it was just a matter of time before somebody moved to Vegas. Really does suck, like you say, for Oakland, that it just happened to be all of their teams.
Golden State leaves then. I mean, not far, but they left.
Yeah, they went to San Fran. I mean, it just sucks. Like that, I feel awful for Oakland fans. I mean, imagine growing up a fan and all of a sudden all years, like every sport team you have just left. That'd be brutal.
And I saw that conversation or the comment in here about like who's going to be a fan of this baseball team. Like, are they going to have the fan base? And I still think if you're a fan of the team, like Oakland fans are still going to pull for the A's. There's some that are going to be torn apart, but
I don't think people in Baltimore they didn't go start rooting for the Colts.
It's a good point. Well, also then, yes. People went I don't think they're on the road in Washington. People went to Washington with the formerly as the Redskins and now the Commanders, right? So there's that. Football did come back to Baltimore, even though granted it was 13, 14 years later or whatever it was. I don't know if I still cared about, if you took out how the organization, how you feel about ownership, I still would root for the A's if I was still a fan until maybe a new team came in. It's like trying to differentiate. But going to Vegas, like, yeah, I am curious. Yeah. It's different. I think fans will revolve around, but the reality is if they're not good, then that's a problem in itself. Like hockey and Golden Knights, that is like the team right there. Mm-hmm. They're balling. People love it. It's indoors, air conditioning. That's nice. And the NFL's the NFL, right? But baseball, I think it's going to be a challenge. Marketable, sure. That you're actually going to get what you want out of it, Zach? I don't know. We'll see what happens right there. And the Golden Knights, yeah, right there, Laura. Golden Knights fan base, they're good. I think the reality is, if you're good, they will come. If you suck, then woof. Enjoy your season. Enjoy your season the best that you possibly can. And that's all I have to say about that, Zach. That's all I have to say about that. First off, that last movie reference, had you seen Billy Madison?
Yeah, I've seen Billy Madison.
Long time
ago.
Is that the typical answer you give?
No, because like I've said, like all Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell movies I've seen, it's just whether or not it's been 10 plus years. Like, but if it's an Adam Sandler or Will Ferrell movie, I've seen it. Might not remember it much, but I've seen it.
I'm trying to think about this too. What's the go-to line when you really probably haven't seen it, but you don't want to just flat out admit it?
Oh, I don't think I've seen parts of it, but not the whole thing.
I've seen parts of it. Or I saw it when the other one I heard was I saw it a long time ago. Oh yeah, great movie. Great movie.
Yeah,
I thought about it, and you're like, you know what? you're just full of shit.
Yeah,
And
or
honestly,
what's it about again? Like, yeah, I think I've seen What's It About Again?
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, it's a classic. Yeah, I hadn't seen it in years. And you know what? Put your hand up, guilty. Everyone's done that in their lives. If you haven't, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to the Ryan Ripken Show community.
My go-to is I've seen parts of it. If I've not seen the movie, I'll tell you I've seen parts of it. Especially if it's a big-time movie. I'll be like, oh, I've seen parts of it. I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
I'm trying to work on just in the future, just being like, yeah, I haven't seen it. Yeah, I don't know who that person is. But it is an easy thing to be like, yeah, I think I've heard the name. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Why does that sound so familiar?
Yeah.
That's a big one. Why does that sound so familiar?
Yeah. And you know what? Can't be lying to the Discord either. So we're going to work on just saying, no, hey, free Discord. If you want to join, they talk all sports, TV, culture in there. We will put the chat in there for people that are looking to talk about sports, the community. And obviously we have a big Baltimore following. So check that out. One thing though, when you say like, I can't remember, I've seen parts of that. You know what that kind of relates to me now is actually with Shohei Otani. I've heard that he's pitched, right? But now it's felt like it's been so long. It's been a couple years. Otani, though, Zach, it looks like he's looking to get back on the bump here soon. So the news is out there, right? You want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah. So news came out today that within the next few weeks, Shohei Otani will be back on the mound with they said, possibility that it is before the All-Star game. So maybe before the All-Star break, I'd bet probably week before or week after is when it happens. But we have not seen Shohei Otani pitch since 2023. And I think people kind of forget about that part of Shohei Otani. Like, I know we all talk about the MVP as the batter, the $1 billion contract, that like all of that. Shohei Otani, last time we saw him, its last full season pitching, where he started 28 games in 2023, had a 2.33 ERA. 23, he had a 3.14 ERA in 23 starts. 21 in 23 starts, he had a 3.18. Listen, the Dodgers, their pitching staff might be held together with duct tape right now, but it's Shohei Otani getting back. I feel like we're kind of almost weirdly underplaying it for the Dodgers team that kind of for their standards haven't been running away with it like people thought. And now Shohei Otani, talk about a guy, he's a unicorn for a reason. I think I'm excited to see him back out on the mound because I think that adds a big boost to that Dodgers team. You're muted. Beautiful.
Yeah, I muted myself because I love to chew ice. Yeah. I'm not anemic, by the way. I've been asked this before. I like to chew ice.
I chew ice all the time.
Yeah, right? It's just there's something therapeutic about it. With Shohei Otani, though, yeah, why people were drawn to him initially, first off, you don't see a guy that pitches and then hits a ball 550 feet. You also don't see a guy that's as good as he is as a pitcher and can be comparable as a hitter, right? He's a top 10, 15 type pitcher if he's fully healthy. And as a hitter, he's a top 5 hitter, right? That's ludicrous. But at the end of the day, he's a weapon for the Dodgers if he's able to go out there. And the reality is they don't need him to ever pitch again. I think his value as a hitter is more important than anything else at this stage of the game. But with the injuries to pitchers, and that it's not a matter of if someone's going to have to get surgery or be on the shelf, it's when. That's just where the game has gone. It's a weapon when he comes back, and the Dodgers have a lot of weapons. They have a lot of injured weapons, but they just have talent galore everywhere. You're an all-star. You're an all-star. You have talent. You have talent. So it's great for the game, for Otani getting back on the mound. It's great for the Dodgers. But at the end of the day, I think what the value hurts the most is if Shohei Otani isn't in that lineup for the Dodgers every single night. I think that's just what he's become. That is what people like to see. And even though it is awesome to pitch once every 5 days or come out of the pen and pitch when you're called upon, what sells more, if we're going to go business again, Shohei Otani at the dish every night, hitting the ball to outer space and then stealing 50 bags. And you're going, damn, this dude is just an unbelievable player. That's what people want to see on a day-to-day basis, Zach. But it is cool. I'm happy he's getting back.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I was at, what would that be? I think it was 22 when he faced off first Grayson, 22 or 23. And just simply watching Shohei pitch is a spectacle in and of itself. It is just truly a one-of-one player. And I agree. Him being in the lineup every day for the Dodgers is more important because you see what he does. I mean, he was the MVP last year without even throwing a single pitch. So, it's always going to be Otani's the most important asset as a hitter. But with the way their pitching rotation looks right now with injuries, man, does adding that that's massive for them. Yeah, it really could be a separator.
Damn right it could. But for the Dodgers, they're competing out there in a really, really tough division. The NL West minus the Colorado Rockies would stop traffic. They did sweep the Marlins a week ago. They're on their way back. But, the Rockies, obviously, and all jokes aside, it's been a rough year for them. But those four other teams, it's a tough division. And the Padres, the San Diego Sheets are playing tremendous baseball. Giants are having a great start to the year. Dodgers are the cream of the crop out there, but they're going to have to work, especially in these rivalry games. And that's just the way baseball works. And what also works? If you hit that like and subscribe button for the Ryan Ripken Show, we're live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on YouTube, X, and now Facebook. Shout out Facebook, by the way, for that. I also didn't know, Zach, that's how some of these stories were picking up. Because I'm going, how the hell are we getting, where are these views coming from? And I go, damn, we got a lot of baseball fans on Facebook. We need to utilize that more. So we appreciate you guys. So hit a follow on Facebook. We're on YouTube, Instagram, X, and on TikTok. Still trying to figure that one out. I'll be honest. It's not my strong suit, but we're working towards being better at things, Zach, right? Get better each day. Is that what they talk about?
1% better. 1% better.
Did you learn that at Loyola or Marshall?
I would like to say I learned it at the Ryan Ripken Show.
Well, best, you know what? You're hired.
I tried. What can I say?
I'm promoting you. I'm promoting you.
I do my best.
You take over the Ryan Ripken Show now.
It's now the Zach Bauer Show. Welcome.
Remember we had that takeover, the mutiny? There it was. Good times.
God,
might come back. Who knows? Maybe there will be a Zach Bollinger Show as the Ryan Ripken media grows. That's a terrifying thought and exciting at the same time. What's kind of a little bit of both, terrifying and exciting? I guess it is kind of around the Baltimore Orioles, where you are excited because you love the team and you have this hope, but you're terrified of what the hell is going to happen as the season progresses. Does that kind of sum it up, Zach?
Yeah.
I think you are a great embodiment of those feelings.
Thank you. I tried. It's been a season, to say the least, in Baltimore, and I think there's been a lot of questions about what's going to happen, because I think in the next month and a half we are going to find out a lot about the Baltimore Orioles, and then late July we will very much find out a lot about where the Baltimore Orioles think they stand with the trade deadline coming up. So it's gonna be a fun little month, I guess.
Yep, and they got a tough week still. Tough game yesterday against Detroit.
It's a way to put it.
Lefties continue to be the kryptonite, the Achilles heel. I'm trying to think of, there was some really crazy, stupid movie I watched. I'm trying to remember. This is super random. It was some Christmas movie with The Rock, and there was these mutated snowmen, and they were indestructible. You couldn't stop them. But if you pulled off their carrot nose, they just disintegrated. They just were done, right? It was the simplest thing that could happen, right? And it would fall apart. It's for the Orioles at times, is you can look at them and go dang, They can hit anybody. But then when it's like left-handed pitching, starters specifically, it's like that carrot's getting pulled off the snowman and it's falling apart. And the reason why I brought that up, I don't know why. That was in my memory. I saw it on TV a little while ago. But I think that's kind of a
because it falls apart fast. It feels like it's going really well, and then those breaks can hit fast. That's for sure. And I think that's what's most frustrating is you see how well it can go. So when it falls apart, it makes it like, hey, why is that happening?
Why is that happening? It is a good question. So, Zach, a couple ways that we could take this. Do we want to talk about the comments that Robert Murray made on Foul Territory, which they're on X and on YouTube, by the way. They do a great job covering baseball on the day-to-day. Do we go there? Do we do your little buy or sell game? Do we talk about what was the other thing I wanted to talk about with the Orioles?
Well, we want to start with buy or sell.
Yeah. Let's buy or sell with the Orioles. And just so I can tell people on X, I'm going to tweet this out because we're doing this live, by the way. Screw it. Doing it live. What should I tell the people, Zach? What should I exactly tweet?
Say that we're doing buy and sell around the Orioles in Major League Baseball right now because we got one for the Orioles and then also some that include the American League and then the National League. So
okay, good. So I'm right. Just so I'm writing this correctly, we are doing buy or sell around Orioles and Major League Baseball.
Yep, let's do it.
Great. Period. I hit a period, right? Because we teach grammar here.
That's what we do. Awesome. Yep. So let's start. We'll start off with our in the NL because we'll let people trickle into as we talk about the Orioles as we get to the Orioles. But for our first buy or sell, the National League West is heating up, getting a little tight. Dodgers have just a half-game lead over the Giants and a one-game lead over the Padres. So, Brian, buy or sell, the NL West is still the Dodgers to lose.
Oh, yeah, it's the buying that. In this economy as well with the Dodgers, you kidding me? Did we not just talk about who they have on their team still? You know? Yeah.
I mean, Dodgers, it's 4-6 in their last 10. Obviously, we've seen the fighting Gavin Sheets in San Diego have they got their little fall back to earth and it felt like, oh crap, what was this awful? But they've gotten it together. They look great. And the Giants are the National League's Rays. Just consistent. It's just they're always going to be there. They might have a down year, and a down year for them is like 78 wins. But they're always going to be there. I agree with you. I think it's still the Dodgers to lose, but if those injuries keep piling up for the Dodgers and these other teams keep it close, I think the Padres have some talent. I would not be surprised if with that pitching staff, if they keep putting it together, if they can do something, if the Padres can make a run there.
Yeah, I mean the Pods. San Diego Sheets they're playing with a lot of confidence and they play well against the Dodgers too, right? Like the matchups that we talk about, because we say the same thing with the Orioles and Yankees. Orioles match up well when they play New York for whatever the reasons may be. San Diego was on the brink of eliminating the Dodgers last year in Game 4 in San Diego. Dodgers win Game 4, they win Game 5, and the rest is history on their way to win the 2024 World Series. So, yeah, but I'm going to trust that the Dodgers' talent, they have 3 Hall of Famers in their lineup right now. Otani, Freeman, Betts. They still have enough on the pitching side. They do a great job organizationally of guys that have come up and had success. So I'm still buying Dodgers division until proven otherwise. Where are we going next?
Next, we'll take it over. We'll get a little closer to the Orioles, and we're going to we're going to go to the American League. It involves one team that the Orioles are playing tonight with the Detroit Tigers. So the Detroit Tigers have the best record, not only in the American League, but all of baseball. as it stands with 44 wins. Right behind them is the Yankees with 40. But Ryan, buy or sell, the Detroit Tigers are the best team in the American League.
For the we're saying regular season, like I'm buying them to go to the World Series, or are we saying
This is who is the best team in the American League right now? They have the best record. So are you buying that they're the best team in the American League, or do you think this is like, yeah, they have the best record, but a team like the Yankees is still the team to beat? You know.
Yeah, I'm going to sell that the Tigers are still the team to beat. I think the Tigers are the most dangerous right now. I think the Tigers, they've had the best ERA as a staff since last May. I think Tigers PR put out since May 12th, they have the lowest ERA. They have a great bullpen. They have a great system. They're playing complimentary baseball. AJ Hinch has the boys buzzing. And I like almost everything that they're doing. But for me, it's all right. Get to the postseason. What are teams that I think could be more of a problem that I think are still ahead of them? I'm going to put a team like the Guardians if they get in because of Guardians ball. And they did it last year. They found a way. I still think the New York Yankees, as they get healthier, they are still going to be a team to beat. And then I'm not going to sleep on Houston. They're just inevitable. So I would take those teams. I think Detroit, it's great, but they kind of remind me, Zach, of the 2023 Orioles, where you're buzzing, you're winning every game possible, but then you got to earn that respect in the postseason, and I don't think they're there just yet.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think if I'm taking bets on if I'm putting who I would say is making the World Series right now, I don't think I'd go Detroit, even though they have the best record. As the season goes on, as maybe they make a deadline move, maybe they get another pitcher in there and it's looking, with Skubal and Flaherty in them, maybe it's a different thought later on if they keep this up. But yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to sell on that one. I think it's probably the Yankees right now still, even though, you hate to say it as a Orioles guy, is from Baltimore, but I think it is the Yankees. I think right now, top to bottom, they are the most. I think they're the best team still. And hey, they represent the American League last year, and that's no small task. And I think right now there's nothing that shows me that they can't do it again this year. So let's go with
and
that.
Right here, Doug Dimmadome, homer of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. And that's the other part of when you're in the moment. Are you going to be able to rise to the occasion? And I don't want to go as far as to say that Tigers hitters are overperforming, but everything is going right for Detroit. I'd like to see when things go wrong. And we talked about in the past, Zach, with teams, a little adversity goes a long way when you're able to overcome it. Yeah. And when you look at the teams that have ended up going to win, they've had some sort of adversity that they dealt with. The Dodgers, people can look at them last year and go, well, they had so much talent. They were good. The Dodgers pitching staff was decimated. And yet they righted the ship and ended up winning that division. And then on the brink of elimination, they didn't falter, right? They were proven. Detroit is just beating teams in every single which way. And that is awesome. It gives you confidence. But I want to see when they go through a little bit of a blip in the road of what that entails for them moving forward. They're still one of my favorite teams to watch, though, Zach. They are. And it's fun to see some teams get in the mix and rebuild. And I know Detroit's waited a long time. All right, we're still moving closer.
Let's head to Baltimore now because it'll start to get us into our final conversation. But so obviously the Orioles are, I believe, now 13 games below 500. Buy or sell at the trade deadline, the Orioles will trade 2 or more of Sugano, Eflin, O'Hearn, and Mullins.
If the rate that it's going, I would buy that 2 of those guys are gone. I think that it just makes sense from that standpoint, but I'm still sticking with my point, Zach. Draw a line in the sand. Who do you want to be a part of your retooling? Not rebuilding. This is not a rebuilding ball club. who are you retooling with? Sagano's going to be a free agent. Eflin's going to be a free agent. If those arms are able to get additional value, and like a guy like Sagano who's pitched so well, some team might overspend for him or put a deal that you can't turn down.
Yeah.
But if they don't, I would look at the option of, and we've seen this, could you possibly extend these guys right now? Could you extend them to keep them in Baltimore? The same can be said for Ryan O'Hearn and Cedric Mullins. I want to preface this real quickly. This is what my answer that I'm going to give is not what I want, but what I think will happen. I want to see Ryan O'Hearn stay and Cedric Mullins, because I don't think you can quickly go, we trade these guys away and we're a better team next year, because I don't believe that.
No.
But I do think that the Orioles are going to move two guys because they're going to say we're going to get a value that we can't turn down. And that's where I'm lying with that. And Zach, I think you and I are in the same ballpark with this, but I wanted to emphasize that point real quickly.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it, kind of like you, with the same kind of stipulation of right now. I think it just makes sense if you're sitting here and you're completely out of it still at the deadline, I think they're going to get value, but you have to decide. I don't think getting rid of all four and being like, okay, we're just moving on, it's the best way to do it, because you want to compete next year. I think you identify one or two of them that you want to continue to be on this team, whether it's Sagano, whether it's O'Hearn, Mullins, Eflin, you give them a deal. And then if there are guys that you can get value for that you think it's the right deal to make, I think they do make those moves. So, I don't think it is something that impacts, or it will be impacted by, are they going all in this year necessarily? I think it's going to be, what two do they think can help them in the next 2 years? Whether, because I don't think the Orioles right now are going to see themselves, even if they get back to 500, as perennial World Series contenders. Let's go all in for it this year. Let's keep all four of them. Let's go make two big deals to bring guys in. I don't see that happening. So I think you make two moves that you can get guys back for, retool with. And then I think you decide one or two of them that you're like, this guy is going to be here in the next year or two.
And we're going to, do you have another buy or sell, by the way?
Yeah. And it's going to get us finally into our next topic.
Yeah. Let me finish this thought. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button here. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube and X and now Facebook. And if you guys don't mind, follow on all those platforms. We are on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We post these smaller clips out there so you guys can go watch as well. YouTube is the home base, though, for all the content. Wanted to throw that out there, right? And we like to have fun. We usually cook on Wednesdays, but we're not in the studio. So a lot of things we like to do besides just talking shop, we like to have fun here. But since we are talking about baseball, let me finish this point before we get into the buy or sell. And I saw this point from Justin about a guy like Laureano feels like he could be traded because you're looking at long-term pieces. He's a guy that a team could really utilize right now. And again, if the Orioles go on a little bit of a bender here and they get back in this dance, then we could have a different conversation. But they're going to trade people if this is where it stands, because there are teams that are going to go for it. But when you're talking about setting a foundation, and when you're talking about the essence of what you want your ball club to be moving forward, right? Yeah. Like, it's not as simple as, we're going to trade these guys away. And I understand the theory. Yeah, we could sign them back if we want them. No, you got to decide who you want in the building. And in my opinion, most cases, and I know we've talked about in the past, you could sell a guy and he could make his way back. More times than not, they don't come back. And if I'm a player too, you're telling them, yeah, we love you, but this team values you more. And that team might say, hey, we want you here long term. And guess what? That relationship, that bond that you created is gone. Yeah. And also, if you're a guy like, let's go Cedric Mullins, Eflin, O'Hearn, and a guy like O'Hearn who's talked about like, hey, I love being here. And and maybe for the right price, he stays. But imagine you go somewhere else and you realize, man, this feel is better. This direction of where they're going is better. Because right now in Baltimore, what do you see? You see a team that has talent. You see a group that you believe can win. But what's the one thing that's being in question now is the direction, the foundation. Are we developing the right way? Are we going to put the players in the best position to have success? Who is going to be running this team? Right? Like all those questions go in. And I think that sometimes as fans, you can overlook the other optics that go into it. Because once you make a move, there's differences that changes in a clubhouse and differences that happens on a coaching staff that we will have to continue to discuss. Long-winded answer. Zach, I'm ready. What's our final question?
Final question, and it's going to lead us into our next segment, Ryan. Buy or sell? The Baltimore Orioles should listen to offers on Felix Bautista.
Sell. Did I say sell?
You might have once or twice. You may have.
It would have to take a king's ransom. Like, while I was hearing the talks last year of Scooble being on the move for like Jackson Holiday or Sam Basayo or both, it would have to be something of that magnitude that would make me say give up one of the best closers in baseball that is rounding into form again.
Yeah.
Talk about a foundational piece, man. That would sour me. I mean, I get soured on a few things, but what say you?
I'm with you. I am team sell. I do not think I would listen because everyone has a price. Now, the price that I would want for Felix Bautista, I do not know if any other team would be comfortable meeting that. If the Phillies want to give me Painter, the number 2, like, okay, then we can start a conversation then. I don't think the Phillies would even pick up the phone if you asked that. So it's like, yeah, there would be offers I'd be willing to take, but I don't know, if the Athletics called and they're like, hey, we'll give you Mason Miller, but the price you're not matching the price that would take. If they want to call, I'll listen, but I would not in any way see someone matching the price that I think it would take to get a Felix Bautista if I were the one selling. So,
I think this is, and so I see these comments here, and so Biohack Lab. Yeah. I get confused because it's not the name that I usually see on the other platforms. But what if this is peak Bautista? And I get it. You're trying to look at what is the value for guys. But Zach, it goes back to what is your foundation of your team? Because this isn't an organization where you're looking at the Marlins who are like, hey, let's get a bunch of young guys and bring them in here and see how we build up. The A's, even though they were not contending last year, and they still are stinking it up this year for the most part, right? They went through that cold stretch, but they won the series against Baltimore. They played better. They have a young nucleus that's there. And they said, we're not moving Miller. He's a part of our foundation. Could that change this year? Of course. Every team has a price. It's a steep price if you want Miller or Bautista, and most teams would laugh and hang up the phone of like, that's just way too much. No doubt about it. But if you're a ball club, you just have to set a bar on who do you want to be a part of your team. Yeah. And Bautista, also, by the way, I think we realized when you don't have someone, you realize how valuable someone is. It's not easy to find another closer off the street here, by the way. When you go and look at some of the great teams, and we could stay in division here, because there was a team that was dominant, and they still, will say that they've won a lot of championships, and they haven't won a championship in 15 years up in New York. They're still one hell of a franchise, by the way. That's not me knocking New York. But when they were in their heyday in the late 90s, 2000s, who was the guy closing out games?
Mariano.
that impact at the end of the game means a ton to a team. It doesn't carry the same value, but I'll tell you what, it matters when you have a guy that is lethal at the back end of the bullpen. So I think it's selling. You listen to calls, but I just don't see in any way, shape, or form that we're going to get to that point. I think that's what Robert Murray, when he went on foul territory, right? So we don't even have to play that clip because he's essentially saying what we're saying, you know?
Yeah, and I agree. I don't like. I think we both agree on you listen, but I don't think there is a middle ground that's going to be found for the value that the Orioles should want, at least for Felix Bautista, and what the other team would be willing to give. It would take a lot to get Felix Bautista because he still is under contract. I mean, this is not just a rental Felix Bautista. You would be getting 1+ year Felix Bautista, and that is big. So it would take a lot because, as Murray says in the clip, you don't sell anything that's going to impact next year because you're a good team still. This year it did not work so far, but we've seen the talent. There is talent there, and it can just kind of snowball if you're getting rid of all your good players for the future as well. It's not good.
Yeah, I see about talking about Cano in here, and
that could be interesting.
Like guys like that, the Orioles. Again, you're looking at your foundational pieces moving forward. That's just the biggest part of that. Who is your foundational pieces? If you're gonna say that they're not, then hey, make a move. But the bigger thing too, if you make moves, you also need to figure out what you have with the guys that stay. I'm talking about some of the prospects. Kobe Mayo's here, and with Mountcastle out, you got to let him sink or swim for a few months. You got to, if you go this direction, right? Yeah. Because, ironically, that's why the Orioles wanted one more year. I think, Zach, not saying that they wanted one more year. No team wants to lose. They don't. But I think that they were anticipating they'd have one more year of maybe figuring out who could blossom quicker. Mm-hmm. And instead they turned into one of the top teams with a very talented group, but then it didn't help answer the question on a handful of guys of how good they can be and where they fit in. So this would be the time that you could do that if you go that route. But
if I'll tell you this, we talked about on Kevin and Zach React last night. I don't think I've ever seen a pitcher just so polar opposite when he's on and off. When Seranthony Dominguez is on, if he figured it out, then that third pitch, he can be one of the top trade candidates this season. I wouldn't doubt that at all. But once again, is he somebody that then maybe the Orioles, if he is looking like he figured it out, like they've been hoping, do they go to him with the 2-year contract extension? It's the little things. The Orioles have to. Just because guys are on expiring deals doesn't mean that they can't be a part of the future plans.
Does not mean that at all, but you're right. There's a lot of questions, and there hasn't been a lot of answers, and nor do we expect those answers at this moment, but we are getting to that point. We get asked about it. This buy or sell is happening because we are seeing what people want to talk about here and that are on people's minds, whether they say it out loud or not. So we appreciate that. And Zach, well done on that. You're a good kid. I'm proud of you. And you know what? I'm proud of you for getting off the absolute crapper when it came to making your bet. So I think it's a great time to take a trip up to our friends at Hollow Casino at Charlestown Races in
West Virginia. Beautiful.
For virtual, not bad.
Not bad
at all. But hey, stop traffic here with our friends up at Hollow Casino at Charlestown Races. We are going to be up there doing a live show on June 28th. I think we're going to be up there at least from 4 to 7. We'll be setting up earlier. I know there might be an Orioles home game, but guess what? Stop traffic. We're going to have a time watching ball, talking ball. And if you are a baseball fan, and let's just say, you don't have to be a fan of these teams. But I started my career at the Washington Nationals. I have a little bit more of a connection with that team. I want to see that team do very well. And also the guy that's coming up there, I got to use his bats when I was in the minor leagues. So Mr. National Ryan Zimmerman is going to be up there from 4 to 7, hanging out, talking ball, signing some items. We're going to be able to give away items on the show, so make sure you're tuning in. And we'll have him join the show as well to talk about a few things. So Mr. National Ryan Zimmerman will be joining us that Saturday, June 28th. Come join us up at Hollywood Casino, Charlestown Races in West Virginia. But Zach, you were 0 for 9. People were starting to murmur that he just doesn't have it. You know what? You've heard me talk about sometimes you got to go outside the box. Sometimes you got to do something that seems so illogical that it's logical, that it works. You broke out the wheel yesterday, and Zach Bollinger, our friends, has broken his streak.
Back on the map, baby. One for our last one. People were talking if we would ever win again. Yesterday, the parlay hit. Jose Ramirez and Shohei Otani both got hits. Actually, they tried to steal it from us. Jose Ramirez had Jacob Fraley had one of the best catches you're going to see to Rob Ramirez. But Ryan, to celebrate, since the wheel was the one to pick the winning bet, we also are going to allow the wheel to pick the celebration. So here we go. And champagne. Wow. Did not see that coming. So really, I mean, this is for everyone who doubted, for everyone who said we wouldn't be here, to all the haters, to all those who supported us. We did it, baby. We did it. Pop the champagne. We are back in the win column at the Ryan Ripken Show. Cheers, everyone.
You've been so good to me. You know, you make me want to shout. How about that?
Shout. And then tonight, we're going not really old reliable, old friend. Starts at 410, so get your bets in. Manny Machado, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Here we go. Let's go 2 for 2 this week. Back in the win column. Momentum's going. The wheel's back. What could go wrong?
One thing I was saying, well, what could go wrong now? You know how superstitious I am. And I love the fact, I can't believe it landed on champagne. What are the odds?
No, I mean, seriously, the fact that I just had champagne, that was crazy.
How did that happen? It just appeared out of nowhere. But to go against your superstition, that scares me a little bit, man. Like, if it doesn't hit,
I know, we might have to go back to the wheel.
The betting gods gave you an opportunity. And we're going to find out if you just spited them, or they're like, you know what? You're good, kid. You're back.
We'll find out. It's going to be, we might have to, if we lose tonight, I cursed myself. So I think, having the wheels one for one. And actually, for those wondering, the options on the wheel yesterday were 3, 2, and 1. So Jacob Wilson ended up not starting. So that would have been voided. But there were 2 losers also on the board and 3 winners. So we had a 50-50 chance at picking a winner yesterday. We got it. The parlay, the only parlay on there. We got it. It wasn't easy. They tried to take it from us, but we're back.
Hip, hip, parlay.
Hip, hip, parlay.
Kids would say. Good kid. You know what? If I had known fully, I would have had my champagne bottle to celebrate for you. And look, in the future, if you would like to tail Zach here or fade Zach or do the opposite of what he does, because that's a good strategy as well.
Yeah.
ESPN Bet has this new player bonus. If you bet $10, you get 100 in bonus bets. And when you sign up, you get your first 30 days free with ESPN Plus. All you got to do is download the ESPN Bet app, but you must be 21 years or older. And if you got a gambling problem, as always, call 1-800-GAMBLER or our friend Rocco DeSangro if you have some problems. But thank you to our friends up at Hollywood Casino and Charlestown Races and
West Virginia.
Wow, right there. You know, you make me want to shout.
Or
That's
jump
like,
if you're Kevin.
Yeah, you know what? I have so many issues with that still. That still eats away at me because shout for me, it is because I'm a huge Wedding Crashers guy. And when I saw that movie, now every time I'm at a wedding and I don't hear it, I'm a little sad. I know some people really don't like it for weddings. Like one of my buddies is like, nah, screw that song. And I almost told him, hey, buddy, it was good knowing you.
Yeah.
I used to have
crazy to hate that song at a wedding.
I know. But there are people that don't like it, and I respect it. But at the same time, it makes me, I have to rethink, you know, who my friends are. Do we have the same common goals? Do we want the same things in life? You know, are we a good person? You know, like it's making me question based off of that. Is that shallow? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sometimes it has to be done, though.
Yeah. You know, and actually, Rick, I want to be a professional wedding crasher. I really would.
That would be fantastic.
That would be great. Could you imagine? Maybe that will be the next content with the Ryan Ripken show.
Yeah, that'll be Ryan crashing weddings.
Yep. Just to get all the crab cakes. Send them my way. That's what we do. And, you know, it's a good point with your bets, though, to close this out with Joe. We should need to figure out the plus-minus system.
Yeah.
And keep track of Bolly's bets somewhere in there.
And you know what? Maybe we'll start tonight with the after wheel, post wheel Bali bets start now. You know,
and the post wheel when we have questions that are answered incorrectly.
Yeah,
we'll go to the wheel for some Merit Clubs challenges. Which for the wheel, you all will still vote on what will be a part of that wheel for the day. Yeah. But we are going to have the spin the wheel. So it can be a little bit more exciting, a little bit more of a thrill.
And so we can put crappier workouts on there and not feel bad because you had a chance not to get it.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a great point here. And if you're new to the channel here, Zach, been a great show today. Happy about it.
Has been.
Happy about it. Happy with all of you. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here on YouTube and X and Facebook. And one thing I wanted to touch on, every Wednesday we are doing a cooking segment with Kyle and the Iron Rooster. Unfortunately, because of the situation, couldn't do this week. We'll be back at it next week. Those are fun moments. I always love doing it. Actually, Zach, you want to see how good I was last week on the pan flipping? I think it's pretty obvious who did the best when it came to this.
That is certainly a take.
No, it's not a take. It's the truth. And the truth shall set you free. Where is this thing right now? Come on. You know, you make me want to
shout. Hands up and shout.
Did I save it as this was interesting? What did I save it as? It's a good question. Give me 1 second. You know, it's been lost in all the sauce, which we were saucing it up there on the show.
We really were.
Literally. Where?
I just want to say, for $30, this is like a very high, like, quality. Like, this is fully metal. Like, this wheel is like, if you need a wheel for any reason, Amazon has got them. So, just for people out there, you know, if you need a wheel, you know. I can't wait. I even put it together, so like it's dummy proof. Like,
I got some ideas when we do our show at Merit next week too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, here's my my cooking. You guys can be the judge. Zach, I think it's obvious who was the best flipper was with the shrimp and grits.
Oh, country shrimp and grits. We want to cook the shrimp.
Have you ever put a shrimp on the bobby?
That's a lovely accent you have.
You said you were going to go home and work on your pan flipping.
Did I practice every day, every night?
You sure about that?
Okay, you guys want to see some magic? Okay.
Oh,
I was so scared. I was so scared.
The key isn't to really throw it. It's more to
Oh,
kind of
I tossed that puppy. Yeah, get it towards the front. Yeah, I thought I did that.
Oh, nice.
I feel like we've gotten too confident.
Oh, wow, little chorizo down.
Something so simple, but two people doing it looks completely different. I'm glad myself back then, last week, and myself now both agree still.
I mean, I think that the aura of how I did it was pretty special. Now, the calmness, the way that Kyle just flipped that thing, I think that was more efficient. And that was like, that's cool. But was it really spectacular, Zach, when you ask yourself, was it really better?
No, the experience, I will say, in my head, when I saw you flipping it, I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. And then myself in the video said, I was so scared. So I'm glad that I still feel those same feelings. I think it's just, I have faith. I have a little more faith in you now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the best there is, plain and simple, Wake up in the morning, Zach, piss excellence. What movie?
Talladega Nights.
We're learning. We are learning here on the Ryan Ripken Show.
Don't you worry. I don't know what to do with my hands.
We're getting there. I haven't even gone to the chamber on some other ones. Like Starsky and Hutch is another one with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. Ever made a mistake in your life? Guilty. Don't see his face, or you get to see Dancing Rick on the dance floor. Oh, that was one of my favorite scenes. I thought I could move like that. And it's not that it's even great moves, but I tried to just copy those moves because I thought it was the coolest thing as a kid. I digress, though, Zach. I digress. Hey, one of our final points here. And by the way, I wanted to shout out G-Man. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. And I hope the O's get a dub for you. And you have a great stinking birthday here. And I hope all those wishes come true, And if you wish that Rocco is going to be taller, that might be the one thing that does not come true.
Yeah, no, I think we're done with that. I think he lost that battle.
Yeah. Well, let's see if you're going to lose this battle then, Zach. So our last kind of challenge, I like to add these in, and we'll move to different topics and sports as time goes on, but I thought this was fun. Yesterday, we did a top 10 list of teams that have won in the last 15 years. So teams that have the most wins in the last 15 seasons, combined record. And so Zach did a pretty good job on that. But Zach, we're going to switch it over here. Since we were talking about pitching and all these injuries, I said, you know what? This will make you go back in history a hair. But also, there should be some names that you do recognize that are still in the game today. So, Zach, I want you to give us it's 15 years, the best ERA from an individual pitcher that led MLB for that season, starting in 2010 all the way to 2024 last year. Okay?
All right.
Yep. Challenge.
Yeah, let's try to do this.
Okay?
2010, was that Tim Lincecum?
Nope. I would be surprised if you get 2010. And you can just list off names that you think could have won it over the 14 years. And
I will give you ERA. Last year was
ERA.
Last year was Scooble, right?
No. It was not.
Who had the ERA?
Oh, no, I lied. Sorry. I'm looking at the National League one. American League one, you are correct on Scooble.
I was going to say.
But he didn't have the lowest ERA
in the league
in baseball last year.
Was it Blake Snell?
No. For qualified innings, who was another guy that had a great year in the National League?
Was it Paul Skeens?
Who won the Cy Young last year, Zach?
Why am I blanking and saying it's Blake Snell? Was it not Blake Snell? He was the year before. Oh, my gosh. Who won the Cy Young last year? How am I blanking on the NL Cy Young? Oh, I saw it in the chat. It's Chris Sale.
Chris Sale.
I was looking. I was thinking. I was like, I know it was a lefty. it was an old lefty. All right, but so over the years, I'm going to put Kershaw out there.
Hold on. Hold your horses. I'm trying to get the what I needed in there. Hold on. So Chris Sale is in there. Yes, that is correct.
Chris Sale, Clayton Kershaw.
So Chris Sale last year.
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw, yes. And for the years in 2014, 2013, 2012, 2011.
All right. So I knew Kershaw was going to get a lot out.
In the National League. If you get one of these, we'll go back and forth. So if you get a name that counts, I will let you know. But for the National League, you just knocked off Kershaw 5 times actually. 2017 as well. Okay?
Yeah. Madison Bumgarner at all?
Bumgarner did not have the lowest ERA. And this also can be American and National League.
Okay. Verlander.
Verlander did in 2022 in the American League, in 2011 for the Detroit Tigers.
Why am I just blanking on his name? Max Scherzer.
No.
Scherzer's not on there.
Nope.
All right, Garrett Cole. I know him. He was 2019? I know for sure. Was it 2019 or 2017?
Garrett Cole, 2019.
Yeah.
Who in the National League had the lowest ERA in 2019, since we're talking about that?
Oh, is this just a random?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so 2019. Oh. This is going to stump me. Who is it?
You get the right pronunciation here. Hyunjin Ryu.
Oh my gosh.
He had a 2.32 ERA, finished second for the Cy Young voting that year.
Yeah. I forgot about him.
So there's that one right there, okay? So as we go back to this list, let me go on back. So
is Matt Cain on there? Because I was going to say Matt Cain.
Matt Cain in the 15 years.
Yeah, he was probably.
So when you get 1 year, I'll give you the option to try to match on both sides, American and National League. Okay. So you had Garrett Cole in 2019 was your first guess there. And Garrett Cole also had the lowest American League ERA in 2023. But who had the lowest? You already mentioned him before. I'll tell you that was Blake Snell. Okay, so that's done. To last year, you named Sale and Scooble. But Verlander in 2022, when he had a 1.75 ERA, goodness gracious, who was the National League leader that year?
2022?
Yes. It's really fallen off. His career might just be done. It is done.
Oh.
He's only 28 years old.
28?
From the Dodgers.
Oh. Is it Bauer?
Well, he's also on the list.
Yeah.
But it's Urias. Julio Urias.
Oh, yeah. His career is very over.
Very over. Very, very over, to say the least.
Yeah.
So that's another one. Okay.
Also, is David Price on this? How many times is David Price on this?
David Price is on this, but only once. And that was in 2015.
Yeah, I was going to say. David Price had to be on there.
But he got traded over, so it's 2 teams. But who was the National League guy then in 2015? Do you want to take a guess? You want to see if – we'll let you name some guys. David Price did it twice, actually. I lied. 2012, which was opposite Kershaw. Yeah. 2015, who you haven't named that other player yet. But so far, ones that you've closed out, Garrett Cole, Hyunjin Ryu. You have Justin Verlander, Julio Urias, Blake Snell, Garrett Cole, Tarek Skubal, Chris Sale. You've closed those out.
Oh, G-Man put it out there. Not Felix. Is Felix Hernandez? That would be AL, but King Felix has
Felix is in the AL for 2014 and 2010. Okay. So 14, you closed that out. That was a Kershaw year. So right now, currently, you want me to tell you how many pitchers you have left to name?
Yeah, because I just thought of one that I think is going to take down a few of them.
7, 8, 9. You have 9 remaining. I will give you, since you mentioned his name, Trevor Bauer in 2020.
All right.
Trevor
I
Bauer
also would like to put out Jacob deGrom.
Jacob deGrom is on there for 1 year, 2018.
That was it?
That was it.
Oh. Damn.
8 remaining.
Just I see it in the chat. Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray is
I forgot
list.
that he was, because he did that. Did he do that in Seattle and then went to Toronto?
Toronto with Robbie Ray.
So he did in Toronto and then went to Seattle?
He went to yeah, you're right. All right, Toronto, then to Seattle, correct.
Yeah, because now he's in San Fran.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep it going now. So you got 8 left.
Oh, 8 left. I'm trying to think. Is Roy Halladay on there at all?
No Roy Halladay.
Jake Arrieta.
Jake Arrieta is not on that list. How about I give you some hints on some, okay?
Yeah.
All right. There was a Cleveland pitcher that's he bounced around for some years. He just recently retired, but pitched with Cleveland, was the one that people noticed him for a while. Pitched with the Red Sox, the Yankees, was really good. Nickname, or his last name might rhyme with Uber.
Who am I? Oh, Corey Kluber.
Corey Kluber, there we go.
Is Matt Harvey on there?
Matt Harvey is not on that list.
That Dark Knight year, he didn't.
No, he did not.
And Strasburg, is he out there?
Strasburg's not on that list. Let's go to another one. Who was a Detroit pitcher that didn't get a lot of recognition? And
oh my gosh, it was Rick Porcello.
No, he won a Cy Young. Remember, this pitcher was like the 4th. There we go. Anibal Sanchez, 2.57 ERA.
Anibal Sanchez.
Hey, who's one pitcher that pitched for the Astros, Dodgers, Royals, and they would just mess around with hitters all the time? Greinke is on there, 2015 with the Dodgers, 1.66 ERA. So now we're getting closer. He didn't do it at all with the Royals. It was only with the Dodgers he had the lowest. Only with the Dodgers. So we're getting closer here, okay?
All right.
Another Cleveland pitcher that currently is out for the season.
Yeah, Shane Bieber.
Shane Bieber.
Yeah.
Shane Bieber. There's another Sanchez on this list in 2016. You haven't gotten either pitcher in the year 2016. So I'll give you a hint. In the National League, think Cubs, but not Arrieta.
Cubs, but not Arrieta. Who else did they have? It wasn't Jose Quintana, right?
No, it was not Jose Quintana. Making me think here.
Yeah, I know.
He's still pitching, doesn't throw very hard.
Is that Kyle Hendricks?
Really doesn't throw hard.
Is that Kyle Hendricks?
Kyle Hendricks.
He's pitching today, isn't he?
2.13 ERA. Did you bet on him?
No. I think I bet yes.
Okay. So on the finish out that year, there's a pitcher in Toronto. I don't know if you're going to get this guy. The last couple you might not get. He has not been since 2022. Nope. But in 2016, he had a 3 ERA pitching for the Toronto Blue Jays at age 23. It'd be one hell of a trivia question. His only All-Star game appearance.
Jose Barrios?
No. This guy hasn't pitched in 3 years. His name's Aaron Sanchez.
Wow.
Tough one right there. So I think we got all of them now. The only one that's left is a pitcher in 2010. He stopped pitching in 2013, but in the year 2010, it was one of his 2 All-Star seasons. He had a 2.30 ERA for the then Florida Marlins.
Oh, no.
And his name is actually the same as a quarterback in the NFL that has played, it feels like, for every NFL franchise as a journeyman, including the Ravens.
Oh, okay. So Josh Johnson, is it?
It's Josh Johnson.
Oh, yeah, Josh Johnson.
There you go.
I forgot about it.
Right
Josh Johnson was an all-time. I used to think of Josh Johnson as every time I played 2K12. He was my go-to. I forgot about Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson pitched 3 more seasons after that, and then that was it for him. But that 1 year, or the back-to-back years, he was an all-star for the Florida Marlins in 2009 and 2010. So a more challenging one for you, but
yeah, we made it.
We'll make it a little bit easier for you next time. I was trying to give you a little more flexibility, but I think it was fun to be able to close out a little bit on.
That's a good like let's think of random like going back. Like there's sort of like Josh Johnson I completely forgotten about.
Yeah. And you know what though too? It also reminds me why I like to do this, because I got love the baseball side of this, and in the future we're going to have the guy that runs the Hall of Pretty Good on, Bryce.
Oh,
and what I love about that is he is doing inductions. For those that don't know, he is highlighting players that aren't going to be recognized as Hall of Famers or maybe the elite players, but they were really pretty good players in the big leagues. And he created a Hall of Pretty Good where people vote on his Instagram account for who should be in the Hall of Fame. I think they just got to 9. He's going to 10 players now shortly. So you're going to see names like Scott Kazmir was let in there. Jason Kipnis played for a long time with Cleveland. Kurt Suzuki. Blanking on the rest of the list. I think Jackie Bradley Jr. Was on that one.
Someone else Scott put in.
Yeah.
We have the he just put in a few more.
Brooks, AJ Burnett was my favorite player in MVP Baseball 05. Favorite pitcher, because he had a knuckle curve that you could throw, and it was unbelievable. And also, Brooks, I'm really curious. I'm going to need to see the behind the scenes Brian Rogers footage. But when I'm talking about behind the scenes with the 9 hot dog, 9 beer challenge, like post it like today. Like how is Brian feeling today? I might have to check in on him, make sure he's still kicking it. Ooh. Hey, you know what? Dean's winning next year.
That's just so winner just wins a lot of money. Or loser just wins a lot of money. I like that.
Yeah. Good teams. Good teams, good kids. All right, I think we're getting closer now to wrapping up for the day. It's good, impromptu. Obviously, we like to joke around and can't fully do that in the studio, but we still, I think, had a good banter throughout today. We got through a lot of subjects, Zach. No doubt about it. We're going to be back tomorrow. We'll have call-ins. We'll also bring that wheel, Zach. We'll be in studio tomorrow. Also, if you've watched this long, thank you, appreciate you. Zach, Hollywood Casino is allowing us to give away tickets to an upcoming concert in July 5th. If you remember the band, you were probably too young to get angsty and alternative rock. But Switchfoot, the band, is going to join us. We're going to do a little recording session. We'll play it for tomorrow's show. But we're going to be able to give away tickets on the show if you want to go and see them up in West Virginia. But apparently they're huge Padres fans. So stop traffic when they find out that Gavin Sheets, that he's a friend of the show, friend of the program, and we didn't have our Gavin Sheets segment today. So maybe we just did right now. Shout out Gavin Sheets. Shout out Gavin Sheets.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Anything else before we head on out of here?
No, I think that should do it. Nothing pressing right now.
Well, I lost my hands.
I was gonna say you are armless, but that's besides the point.
Put your hands up and shout.
Shout.
A little bit softer now. A little bit louder now. Hey. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And maybe we will have a live Hidden Dingers. Hey, we got some ideas cooking of what we want to do, so never say never. And Steve, I can bring some trivia for you, or you can bring some trivia for me. How about that? We'll do that. And when I move, you move, Zach.
Just like that, getting the home run swing ready.
There it is. And guys, before we hit the music, and by music, that'll be Zach Bollinger singing it. Hit that like and subscribe button. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Check out Mariclubs and mariclubs.com for more opportunities. We'll be doing a show there next week. Be working on a performance test. Might be hanging out by the pool. I might be hanging out by the pool. Zach, I like hanging out by the pool.
Yeah.
Did you get that? That I like hanging out by the pool?
I think you said it once or twice. I think people might have heard.
Cool. Hell yeah. Well, guys, Zach, now you can cue the music.
Bow, 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 bow.
As always, here on the Ryan Ripken Show, appreciate each and every one of you. Have a day, have a night, have a great stinking Wednesday, and we'll be back here tomorrow for a brand new show. So be good, be safe, and enjoy yourself.